Hi, I'm Craig Parry, CEO of IsoEnergy. IsoEnergy is a spin out of NextGen Energy, and we're drilling our Hurricane deposit, the world's most recent high-grade uranium discovery in Canada's Athabasca Basin. But before we get into the details, we'll just talk to you a little bit about the uranium market, the coming boom in uranium, and how you can profit successfully. Disclaimer. So we're at the earliest of stages of a uranium bull market. Uranium prices have risen from $23.50 a pound 3 months ago to $34 a pound today. It's the best performing commodity of the year so far. And this slide here explains why that's the case. We've seen a huge amount of production removed from the market in recent years due to fundamental supply-demand dynamics. Now, what's happened in recent months, of course, is that COVID-19 situation has seen massive closures and cutbacks in production. We've seen Kazatomprom, the world's biggest producer, close all of their production. They announced today that they're extending that closure at least another month. We've seen Cameco, the world's second biggest producer, close its last remaining mine, Cigar Lake, for the foreseeable future, and we don't expect that mine to come back on stream anytime soon. So what that's effectively done has reduced production by about 50%. A massive drop in production, and that's led to these prices starting to rise. But we're only at the earliest of stages of price rises. We think that as Kazatomprom particularly keep their production off stream and that they don't supply the spot market for the foreseeable future and this year, we will see prices start to rise even more strongly in coming months. But before we talk about the market and how you can profit successfully, I just want to point out to you a share price chart for a company we started back in 2011 in the depths of the bear market that we've been through. The company, of course, was NextGen Energy, and IsoEnergy is a spin-out of NextGen Energy. I was a co-founder there at NextGen with Lee Courier, our chairman. Lee's the CEO, of course, of NextGen. We started that company, we did an initial placement at 5 cents a share. We discovered the Arrow deposit in 2013, and you can see from the share price chart, things went very well from then on. So in the worst market we've seen, we delivered shareholders over 20 times return on their investment through good exploration and discovery. And that's what we're looking to do at IsoEnergy. We're somewhere on that curve for ISO, but it's early days for us. So, as you can see from that slide, discoveries still deliver shareholder returns. But what about if you look at the broader market potential? Now, back in 2011, as you can see from this slide, the combined market capitalisation of our sector was about $150 billion. Today, it's about $10 billion. So the beta potential alone, the potential as the market rises for delivering shareholder returns is extraordinary. Our market has to rise 15 times simply to get back to those 2010, 2011 levels. So pretty simple thesis there. So the market potential is terrific. Now, your job as investors is largely done for you because the downturn we've been in has been so great and so deep that there are very few equities left that you can actually invest in. Back in 2011, there were 500 listed uranium companies around the world, explorers, developers and producers. Today, that number's about 50. So there's not many companies you have to look at to work out where to invest. And what happens when you get a bull market in uranium? Well, of course, we saw that from 2005 through to 2007. As you can see here, the returns during that last uranium bull market were nothing short of extraordinary. And of course, as Rick Rule speaks fondly, Paladin was his favourite investment at that time. That returned investors over 180 times their original investment. So extraordinary. I think Rick also talks about the very worst he did during that boom and of the companies he was invested in was 22 times return on his money, not 22%, but 22 times return. So a uranium bull market can deliver extraordinary shareholder returns, and that's where we think we're heading right now. So if you like the uranium investment thesis, you can do a couple of things. Firstly, you can simply build a basket of portfolio of those stocks, or you can identify and buy companies drilling high-grade uranium now, of which there are very, very few. And of course, at IsoEnergy, we're one of those. You can see here our core tray from one of our holes in our last a winter drilling program, hole LE 2034. Some extraordinarily high grade there in that core tray, 8.5 metres at 34% U3O8, the second best drill hole in any commodity this year so far, anywhere around the world. So extraordinarily high grade material. And Steve's had the team out there all of winter drilling some of the most spectacular drill results this year so far. So we're very excited about this. Hurricane's turning out to be a serious high grade discovery. Just very quickly, we'll come back to this later on in the presentation, but the strategy is so very, very simple. The eastern Athabasca, as you can see on that tan area on the map, the most prospective part of the world for high-grade uranium. We're surrounded by some of the world's biggest and best uranium deposits and mines. Of course, McArthur River and Cigar Lake are very close to some of our properties and projects. But up to the north there, you can see there that we discovered the hurricane zone on our La Roque East property. Now, importantly, all of the infrastructure you would ever need for mining uranium is already in place there. Roads, power, importantly people. And of course the McLean Lake Mill is only 40 kilometres away from our hurricane discovery. So our strategy, very simple, put your foot on as much of that ground as you can and get in and explore for high-grade uranium. That's the strategy started to pay off for us there in 2018. We announced the discovery of the hurricane zone. We've been there ever since, drilling out very high-grade uranium. We've now proven up a strike length of 600 metres, a width to the deposit of over 40 metres, and thicknesses of 8 to 10 metres of very high-grade uranium. The deposit itself is relatively shallow at only 330 metres of depth. It's again 40 kilometres away from Orano's McLean Lake Mill, and there are no water bodies sitting over that. So our deposit, our new discovery there at Hurricane's shaping up to be a truly great deposit. This coming winter we'll be drilling in and around those high-grade hits we've had there. We'll be looking to define the resource. We haven't closed the deposit off in any direction yet, but particularly to the north and south. And if you look at this cross-section here, you'll see that very close to our best hole to date, that hole 34 where we drilled 8.5 metres at 34% uranium, we've got one of the best exploration targets we've got just to the north of that. So we'll be drilling to look to expand the mineralised zone there. And again to the south, another great intercept there, 7.5 metres at 22.7% U3O8, and no drill holes to the south of that. So we'll be drilling there in coming months, and investors can expect a lot of news flow over those couple of months as we get back out there and start drilling this summer. Another section there just demonstrating a very high grade section where we haven't closed off mineralisation in any direction. And then lastly, just stepping out and looking at the broader property, the deposit as it stands at the moment is under that red star there. That's the hurricane zone. You'll note that we haven't done much drilling further out to the east, but we have a huge conductive belt there with mineralised historic intercepts on it, and we've got more drilling to do and to follow up out there. So lots of exploration targets, lots more work to be done, and plenty of potential for further discovery. Just demonstrating where we sit in relation to the other deposits in the basin, the schematic cross-section there. You can see we're relatively shallow compared to the giant deposits of Cigar Lake and McArthur River, and well positioned for mining. Very important slide here on the capital structure. Importantly, NextGen owns 52% of the company. In the last two placements, NextGen took nearly half the available stock in each of those placements. We raised $7 million back in December last year. NextGen put $3 million of that in. That sets us up very well for the rest of this year. We've got over $3 million in the bank, which is sufficient to get us through the drilling program that we're kicking off in August. We've got a very tight share structure, only 84 million shares out. We haven't been around that long. Of course, NextGen owns over half of those shares, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school here when we say that the NextGen board's very happy with us and will continue to support the company. Our share register reads like a little bit of a who's who in uranium. We've got Orano there with 2%, Cameco with a significant holding as well, and then beyond that, a number of institutional shareholders. Some of the guys that are the thought leaders in investment in the space, Sachem Cove, Segra, Old West Asset Management, CQS out of London, own about 20% of the stock. So our free float very, very tight, so that whenever we put out good news or the uranium price rises, we perform disproportionately well. So there you have it. Uranium prices have started to rise, but it's only just the start of this boom market that we see coming. Those cutbacks, particularly due to COVID-19, will ensure that the market remains very tight for the rest of the year, and we expect uranium prices to really take off in the back half of this year. Few uranium companies exist nowadays, and certainly as an investor you can build a basket, a portfolio of those sorts of stocks. Or what we would encourage is you to look to those guys with high-grade discoveries and development projects. Of course, our parent NextGen has a significant deposit there at Arrow, one of the world's great deposits that they're looking to develop. And at IsoEnergy, I think we've got the most exciting uranium exploration play today. Thank you for watching the first part of this presentation. We'd encourage you to continue watching. We're about to show you a video now that gives you more detail on our Hurricane deposit and discovery. And beyond that, we'll take you through some more detail on the company itself, and Steve will take us through some of the geology of the discovery he's made there at Hurricane.